Whoops. So I guess we're live, as everyone just saw. So yeah, we are live. Welcome to the ODL season. Oh wait, are we still muted? No, we're not muted. Okay. Jesus Christ. All right. Welcome to the season 2 finals for the Phalanx division, which is our doubles league. This would have been a two-parter stream. We're supposed to cover finals and the consolation match to see who can get the title of third place. However, the opponent who was supposed to fight Charcoal, it was Crampy. Crampy was supposed to fight Charcoal for third place. Crampy decided to leave the server. So unfortunately, Charcoal got a forfeit win into Consi, which sucks. But you know what? A podium finish is a podium finish. So this is going to be a little bit of a shorter stream. We do only have the just the finals match to watch, the best of 3 that it is. But I am joined by Blizzard since it's his league and he was in finals, so I figured he should hop on in this bitch. You want to say hello?
Hey, what's up? Um, yeah, I was so excited to make it to finals. I felt like I had 3 forfeit wins throughout the season, which really sucks because like I was 8-0, but so was AMLO dude. So we were both 8-0, but he played 7 matches and I played 5. I think he played 7. Um, and so it doesn't feel great. Like I'm undefeated, but like I got 3 wins against 2 opponents that like were tough matchups and that I thought like I had a solid chance to lose. So and then on top of that, in quarterfinals, that was already talked about in a previous stream, but I was up against a Turnham, and there was a moment where if he'd clicked Sucker Punch, I would have lost. Um, and so it felt like I kind of wanted like a little redemption here. And Amlo dude also just been kind of dominating all season, and he felt like kind of the underdog coming in here, just even though he was undefeated. I have a great team matchup into him, and he was using an unorthodox team, like just in general all season. And going undefeated with a really unorthodox team is not typical. So the fact that he was so dominant really just is a testament to his skill as a player.
True. Huge respect for AMLO, dude.
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think I think having the two undefeated teams is really cool.
It
Just because
is.
one person's gonna end undefeated. Also just adds like to the hype.
Well, and you see this time and time again in any sport, any playoffs bracket where you have the leading teams going into it, and we'll say 8 out of 10 times they're not the ones that make it to finals.
Yeah, exactly.
People have
Like
learned
if
how
you
to play against them or prepare for their strategies and things like that. Especially in draft league, you see that all the time. You see someone go undefeated in the regular season, but the person that they lost to or the person that they beat and that they have to fight in semis, quarterfinals, finals, whatever you want to call it, they now know what they need to do to beat that person, and they
and
oftentimes do.
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I also do want to say that in if we look at season 1, we had Saline win 6-0, right? They only lost 1 match, which was week 7, and then they lose round 1 of playoffs,
Yep.
right? Wow, went 6-2, right? And then they lost in the consolation match. Or sorry, lost in semis. Wait, and then the consolation as well. But then you look also there's one other team. Who was I gonna say? Oh, Mr. Feeney also went 6-2. So the top 3 teams, 7-1, 6-2, 6-2, none of them won.
Nope.
Only one made it to finals, one made it to semis, and one made it to quarters. So like even in our league, not just like draft leagues in general, even in our league, we've shown that like the teams that look like they're extremely dominant all season don't end up winning.
Season 1 of Hoplite, same thing. Stoyan, I want to say he had either a 6-2 or a 7-1 record, and he lost
Yeah,
first
it's
round of
amazing.
playoffs against Dallas. So like it
Mhm.
happens. People know what they need to prep for now, and if you win the match, you're like, okay, cool, I won. Now I just got to do that same thing again. But oftentimes the person that you're fighting is going to do things entirely different. So it is pretty cool to see for this season that we had the two top contenders be the two top contenders going into finals.
Mhm.
So
Yep, I would agree.
without further ado, I say we get into game one.
Do you want to pause the Terra types real quick though?
Yeah, yeah.
So I think Terra Grass on Ho-Oh and Smeargle makes a lot of sense, mainly because grass is the only thing that resists electric and water, and my two best Pokemon
Are
are
electric and
Miraidon
water.
and
Yep.
Urshifu, right? So makes a lot of sense. And Ho-Oh already naturally is weak to water, so now he resists it. Already naturally weak to electric, so now he resists it. And he previously would not be weak to fighting. Where now it hits him neutral. So like I'm very unlikely to click close combat into him expecting a Terra, right?
Right.
Miracle's not necessarily the same, but he runs Sash anyways. And Surging Strikes can break Sash, whereas close combat can't, you
Right.
know, can't kill through Sash. So that makes a lot of sense. I think Bug on Shiftry is a little interesting. I don't actually know exactly what that was for. I don't know if it gets first impression. I don't think it does, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Maybe U-turn. Just like if it's maybe choice band or just like if it scarf or it wants to outspeed and then just like hit with a powerful U-turn and get out of there. I'm not sure. Honestly, I know it means it resists like rounds, so but I don't know what or fighting. I guess that's probably it. Fighting. Um,
Yeah,
but
probably
yeah,
fighting. Oh, and
fighting. Yeah,
also
for Urshifu. Yeah.
Urshifu. I don't know if you were running any ground type attacks on Iron Treads, but Bug.
Yeah,
Not
Iron
that you
Shit.
would
Yeah.
click a ground type attack into Shiftry anyway.
Well, maybe just like Earthquake, I guess.
Yeah, just for general
But I think
coverage.
I think mainly for Urshifu, like he didn't want to be fairy just because of Sneasler, or he didn't want to go like flying because of Miraidon. So I guess it makes sense.
Right.
Like, or he didn't want to go Ghost because of I've run Terror Dark Sneasler a lot, and I also have Grimmsnarl, who's kind of known for Sucker Punch, even though I've never ran it all season. Um, or not known for exactly for it, but it does have Sucker Punch and False Surrender as two good options. Terra Ghost, Dialga, I think makes a lot of sense. Just close combat, which would be super effective, is no longer, and the ground type moves are hit it for neutral still, so just makes sense. Again, doesn't want to. He doesn't want to expose himself up to Miraidon. Like Terra Flying makes a lot of sense to deal with ground and fighting, but then you're weak to Miraidon. He
You're
just
weak
didn't
to
want to do
Miraidon. Yep.
that, which makes sense. I think Terra Ground just a power up Sensor Storm, if I'm not mistaken. And then Terra Fairy, Palafin is also a little interesting. I think maybe also just for close combat and also like Dragon Pulse hits it neutrally. So I think that's fine. Um,
Yeah, we see Terra Fairy a lot in singles on
yeah,
Palafin.
I mean, yeah, I could see why.
All right.
Um,
Explain to
and
me
then
your Terras.
so I thought initially like maybe Terra Flying Terra Blast on Rhydon, but I thought that's a little silly. I don't think I actually want to run Terra Blast. But I more I thought about it, I was like like because Terra Flying Terra Blast hits a lot. Like flying is a good offensive type, and in a lot of matchups that would have hit a lot of a lot of like teams for neutral. For the most part, and same with his team. But I decided if I want to run Earthquake on treads, I can click Terra Flying and kind of be pretty safe of just not having to damage my partner. And if I wanted to run AV, which I did just for like some nice bulk on Rhydon, then I can't run Protect, so I can't Protect Earthquake. The only way I can pair them two together, which it's a very strong pairing, is if I run Terra Flying and click Earthquake, or I could go for high horsepower. But sometimes I do want to click that Earthquake. So that's mainly why. Also, it just gets hit neutrally from like everything.
True.
That's also he does sorry, one last thing is that he has Earth Power on Dialga and he has Landorus, obviously. Two strong ground type attackers. Or sorry, ground attacks. Which
Making him
normally
easily
threaten right on
eliminated.
that.
Yeah.
Now I just have like even if I don't click Terrifying, there's a threat. So Terrawater Urshifu, I think, is just very straightforward. Just power up Surging
Stab.
Strikes.
Yep.
I think depending on his Smeargle's bulk, I was able in rain with I don't know if I was like I can't remember the exact calc, but I think I had a chance to Oko Terra Grass Smeargle,
Damn.
which is crazy
That is
because he
pretty
resists
crazy.
me,
Yeah. Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
So I think with all like every multiplier had to be there. Like I had to be Terra Water in rain and I had to crit, get it? Because Searching Strike's always crits.
Haha.
Yeah. But yeah, I think I believe that's part of the reason. Also, just Terra Water Aqua Jet. I was really torn on my last move for Urshifu, but I was guaranteed to run Surging Strikes and Close Combat, right? Because I those were his best stabs. I believe I also ran Brick Break just in case he brought Klefki, who was a problem all season. I think I just wanted to I'm fine giving up a move slot, even if he never brings Klefki, which he didn't end up bringing. Just to make me feel better about that matchup. Um, and then I was debating between Protect and Aqua Jet, but I settled on Aqua Jet to pair with Terra Water as well.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Terra Poison was because he has Dialga with Flash Cannon, and he had Sludge Bomb on Landorus. So I could run Terra Steel, right? Because then I'm immune to poison and I resist steel. But that suddenly leaves me weak to Dialga still and Landorus still, because they both have
True.
ground type moves.
And with Terra Poison, you also resist
Actually,
close combat from Palafin and low kick
yeah.
from Shiftry too, which is nice. Whereas normally you're just neutral to them. So if you can mitigate it, better to mitigate than take neutral.
Let me correct myself though, because Terra Poison is still weak to ground, which
Oh
sorry.
yes, yes it is.
I don't. I think it wasn't like a particular reason why I didn't want to see. Oh, Ho-Oh, that's why it was actually. Ho-Oh is
Sacred
a
Fire
fire type.
spam, yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't want to be weaking myself up to too many things with Terra Steel. Was a thought process. Terra ground on Iron Treads is just kind of standard, just clicking Earthquake and High Horsepower, making them stronger, because they can do a lot of damage. Then Terra Dark Sneasler. I had been running Terra Dark Throat Chop Sneasler a lot. I've run that several times throughout the season. It's been a great asset, especially against like a tournament team, which was very size spam focused. It was a great to run, and I didn't run Throat Chop this week. But I wanted him to think that I was, right, because he ran Terra Ghost on Dialga and Smeargle quite a bit. I wasn't sure if he was going to run Grass, maybe like Fairy, but I was mainly between Grass and Ghost for both of those mons, particularly for Smeargle. And so I wanted to have the threat of like Terra Dark Throat Chop, in case he was Terra Ghost, so just to make him like more hesitant about clicking it, because then I can hit him with CC or with Terra Dark Throat Chop and Oko him either way. So having that threat there, even though again I didn't have Throat Chop, I wanted him to at least consider that as an option when it wasn't one, especially on Dialga. I mean, Dialga did end up running Ghost, so now he's a little more hesitant about clicking Terra Ghost. And then Terra Rock Volbeat is a funny story, because what were the two? I wanted to resist fire, right, because of Ho-Oh, and I wanted to resist flying because of Ho-Oh. I don't want Ho-Oh to be able to hit me for super effective. I wanted to resist both of them, because normally bug type is weak to fire and flying. I now resist both of them. That was the entire reason behind Terra Rock Volbeat. So
And this
I think
Volbeat,
that was
man, you're not allowed to draft Volbeat ever again.
Volbeat is getting way more expensive. I did win with him season 1, and so I decided to draft him because he was tier 4, so that's very cheap. And he has like just worse Whimsicott pretty much, but he's significantly cheaper. So that's fine by me, and he gets so many support moves that like in draft you can really catch your opponent off guard. I used Infestation 1 week. I think it might have been in quarters or semis. I think it was quarters. I brought Infestation, Volbeat. I've brought Struggle Bug in the past. I've which like those are attacking moves. Lunge, Pounce. Also, he also gets. But on top of that, like Thunder Wave, Encore, Tail Globe, Baton Pass. I was considering bringing, but I only have one real special attacker in Rhydon, so I didn't end up doing that. But yeah, Tailwind obviously. So yeah, that's enough yap out of me. We can.
Hell yeah. Let's get into the matchup. There we see a Smeargle lead with the Dialga lead.
I'm immediately thinking Follow Me Trick Room.
Right.
By the way.
That's what that looks like. Immediately goes for the Terra.
But he goes for Quick Guard, which is actually interesting because I can't Thunder Wave him.
Right.
which quick guard was cool prep, but he did reveal it right away. I think he was expecting a fake out and then taunt or something like that, which makes a lot of sense. But he doesn't go for Trick Room, actually. He goes for Earth Power, which catches me off guard. But I'm actually okay with it because now I outspeed, and Snarl can pick up a kill on Smeargle here and weaken this. It does 28%, which is quite significant, but also importantly weakens him. And then Struggle Bug comes out as well, so it's half. Even though he gets up Trick Room, he's now half attack. He really wants to switch out here, right? And so how do I capitalize on that? Actually, do I? I think I make a misplay here. I want to see if I do, because I eat quite a bit from Earthquake, and I go for Electro. So can you pause?
Oh,
So, sorry. I knew he was switching out, obviously, because he's at half attack, or half special attack. So I was like, who could he have in the back? Shiftry, Landorus, or Palafin? My guess is Landorus. Maybe it's Palafin, but it's definitely not Shiftry. It was my thought process. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for probably Snarl, just to weaken Lando, because that's who I think is coming out. But I was like debating between another move as well. But what I did is I went for I was gonna go for Thunderwave into the Dialga slot, which would have been a clear mistake because it's a ground type switching in, right? So electric doesn't work on ground. That's silly. So I switched it to Ho-Oh and then click Electro Drift into the ground type. So
oh shit.
yeah, I made a bad play, canceled it, and made a worse play. So
Happens to the best of us.
yeah, and then I do click Terra Flying here, and Encore him, which is really nice, honestly. But the pair is huge because a Terra Fly was to Encore him into Earthquake, so now he can't hit me. And he does go for Sludge Bomb, so that is good by him. Do I switch here? I don't actually switch here. I think I just go for Struggle Bug and Snarl, I believe. I know I Volt Switch, sorry. I do switch out. Into Urshifu. To eat that Sludge Bomb so that Miraidon actually doesn't die here. And Dragon Pulse does a decent bit. But Struggle Bug comes out again, and the nice thing here is that he has 2 Mons left, right? And I can pick up a kill here, which it's a close roll. I would have to get quite unlucky to not get that kill, I think. But I think maybe it wasn't a guaranteed kill. Either way, it guarantees at least one of his Mons being forced on the field with half special attack, which is really rough for him. Means his offense is significantly worse.
Cuts off the bottom a little bit. Oh, I see what you're getting at, TBL. I'm so sorry. That was an oversight on my bad when I set up the stream.
Oh, it was Charcoal, actually.
Oh, that was Charcoal. I
Yep.
didn't think that was TBL.
I don't know. Maybe you're just blind or stupid. I'm kidding.
Possibly. It should be better
Okay.
now.
Yeah, it looks better. Yep. So, I just kill Ho-Oh here because I figure half special attack Landers is not actually doing too much, and I think I might have. No, I tailwinded, but I can just pick up a kill here anyways. So, yeah, makes it a much easier win just because I really crippled him with the combo of Struggle Bug and Snarl.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even though he got up Trick Room, it didn't actually matter too much.
Also, forgive the mouse flying across the screen. For some reason my Google does this thing where like whenever I reopen another tab, it likes to fucking have like an overlay. I don't even know how to describe it. Like in art class in elementary school, and then people would give you that black piece or that piece of paper that had like the black shit that you had to scrape off and to show the colored underneath it. That's what my Google does that sometimes. So I have to like literally wipe away the remnants of the previous screen, the flash of the screen, so I can see what the fuck is happening. I don't know what the fuck is. I don't know why. It's weird, but yeah. The rainbow thing, yeah. My Google does that sometimes. Or to like freeze with the previous screen on it, and I have to clear it away to see what the other screen is. And I don't know how the fuck to fix it. I don't even know what to call that. So if you see my mouse flying across the screen, we know why.
I thought you were just like bored.
No. I was trying to make sure I could see the fucking matchup.
I wasn't sure what you were doing, but it's all good. It's
So
all
yeah,
good.
Blizzard takes game one. Really
Felt
good.
pretty
You
good
you
after
only
game one.
lost Sneasler there.
Yeah, I got every one of my mons was actually Urshifu was my healthiest mon at 38%. So it wasn't close, but I felt like kind of like in a situation where like I'm not going to lose this
Right.
just because I have Tailwind up and I can outspeed and kill. So
Hell yeah. Let's get into game two. Alright, so we see a Smeargle and Dialga lead again.
yep, and I assume he's going for pretty much the same thing, but I mix it up significantly here
You did. You did.
because I want to get up screen just in case he goes for that, and then I go for Stealth Rock because I brought Stealth Rock because he has a Ho-Oh, and
Is
I
this
thought that was
singles?
fun. And then I died Earth Power, which I did not think I died. Because light screen's up, I thought, like, oh, I don't die to Earth Power, but he decorates. So
Yeah, the decorate was
Ruination misses, which is really nice for me.
classic
I Spirit
charcoal
Break
strat there.
just to weaken him a little. Earth Power does a decent bit. It wouldn't have killed though, anyways. And I don't even Terra Water. I just get like some damage off. It's not even crazy damage. So.
It's good damage. Yeah, Dialga's significantly bulky, so.
And then with the follow me, I just do quite a bit. And he doesn't actually kill my Urshifu, which I don't think he could have. If he gone for Decorate Earth Power, he could have, but otherwise, he couldn't have. So, and look at Ho-Oh just taking half health from Stealth Rock.
Yep.
Beautiful. That's the entire idea, because now I can almost kill him with Aqua Jet. And even if he kills both of them, which I think he does. Yeah, he kills both.
Yep.
It's Miraidon versus the world, but Trick Room's over. So now Miraidon's coming out, Electric Terrain comes out, and I should win this, right? I just Snarl. Right, I Terra Flying, but...
Oh no, the double
And then I miss
miss!
2 Snarls. That is a 0.25% chance of happening, a 1 in 400 chance. I miss Snarl on both, and then I miss a third. And I'm like, that's just salt in the wound at this point. I shouldn't have Terra'd, because I assumed I killed Dialga when I didn't, and I was just like trying to cover Earth power, but he goes for Dragon Pulse anyways, so... that was just
That was a really dominant set from Blizzard or from Ammo. Also,
I felt like I could have
Did you
made a
notice
comeback.
how all of his Pokemon are nicknamed Ice type moves?
Ice type. Yeah, so I figured. I didn't actually notice Powder Snow, but I noticed Blizzard and Ice Beam. I thought the Blizzard was like, because I'm Blizzard, and then like Ice Beam was just to pair with that because it's another popular Ice type move. I didn't actually notice his other one. What was his Landorus name? Can you go back and check?
Landorus, we'll check game 2, was Icy Wind.
Icy Wind, gotcha.
We have Icy Wind, the Lando, Ice Beam, the Dialga, Powder Snow, the Smeargle, and Blizzard, the Ho-Oh. We don't know Palafin or Shiftry. We don't know what their nicknames are. But we'll find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. All right. Game 3. Going to game 3. Game 3 hype is fucking real here. It's anybody's game at this point.
Yeah, and at this point, I was just telling you that how I felt like a little bit fraudulent for having 3 forfeit wins, right? And then like another win that should have been a loss, I felt like a little fraudulent, but after getting that RNG game 2, I was like, all right, at this point, that was the worst RNG I've had playing Pokemon, maybe ever, but probably not ever, but like in my recent memory, 1 in 400 chance, right?
Yeah.
I'm not losing to that. So that was my mentality going into the game. Like I have to earn this win now.
Yeah, Wah pointed out 2 Electro Drifts probably could have just sealed the deal without the RNG.
I don't think so, because he had Amon in the back too, and I would have killed 1, not 2. So he would have got off free quite a bit of damage, right? Dragon Pulse at 23%. So let's say I targeted Ho-Oh then, or Sacred Fire more, I think. But either way, I think if I kill 1 and weaken the other, like Dialga's not doing near that much damage at all. I can just Electro Drift or do whatever I want to the other partner, because now Dialga's at 6% and -1. So
fair enough.
It should have been I think Snarl was still the correct play. I just needed to not have that exact thing happen. That's exactly what happened. So
it is what it is.
it is what
All
it
right.
is. That's why you run 100% accurate move.
Game 3 in our finals match to see who we crown as the Season 2 champion of the Phalanx division in the Olympian Draft League. Let's do it. See a Ho-Oh and Lando lead, so he does mix it up this time.
And I do too, because I'm convinced he's not going for the same lead. I was convinced, and I'm so glad I was able to do that. And he goes for a pretty safe play here generally, but I actually go for Draco into the Lando slot because I either think he's, no matter what he does, I can get off a lot of damage. And he actually Okos here, which is,
Nice.
I'm not like surprised, but I also like, I get Tailwind, and then I get another one, and which is kind of nice. That clock comes out, and then I believe I just Volt Switch, yeah, just because I want to reset, obviously. And so I do send out my last mon, Urshifu. Prone to a Sacred Fire, but he goes into the other slot, and no burn is really nice.
No burn is huge. Double
He
switch
does
there.
switch out right away, which means that even though he takes a lot from this Dire Claw,
Ooh.
Surging Strikes he takes nothing from.
And then the poison seals the deal on Ho-Oh.
And so Ho is going to die.
Oh, I'm sorry. Brave Bird seals the deal on Ho-Oh. He says, nah, I'm killing myself.
I'm going out of my own turns. And then from here, I know that I have one last turn of Tailwind, so I do outspeed, so I can just break a Meteor and close combat. I could have Surging Strikes and Electro Drifted, but this guarantees the kill. I don't think Electro Drift was as guaranteed.
Wild. That was
I
just a
believe.
turn 4.
But either way, yeah.
Very quick. Very dominant.
And that kind of like shows the like the potential of this team. I think this team should not ever have been possible. Because even though I believe the tiering, like besides Volbeat, which was too cheap, you could say Sneezer's a tier 2 as well, but Iron Tread's acting more like a tier 3 than a tier 2 anyways. I think my assumption going into this season was that no one will be able to have the best tier 1 and the best restricted because of how the draft works, right? If I was the first overall pick, I took Miraidon. I didn't pick until the 28th and 29th overall picks. So I assume people are going to take all of the best ones before then. But then Urshifu actually goes undrafted. He falls back down to me. And same with Grimmsnarl, which are the 2 mons I wanted. I thought, like, I don't think I wanted any mon actually more than those 2. But Urshifu especially, just because I thought Urshifu was going, like, minimum, like, or sorry, the latest it would fall is, like, top 5, right?
Right.
Because you have things like Calyrex Ice Rider, Calyrex Shadow. I knew Miraidon was going because I was taking it. And then, like, other than, like, the both 2 Callies and Miraidon, you could say, like, maybe Zamazenta. Like, maybe, like, you take Koraidon, right? But Urshifu was, like, should have been the first or maybe second, like, non-restricted off the board, in my opinion. And the fact that he fell to 28th, or technically 29th, it was
Well, and
a little crazy.
like Wah just brought up, it's probably because everybody was like, okay, I need to draft both of my restricteds back to back and get those out of the way. That way I have my 2
But
strongest
that wasn't
mons.
that wasn't actually how the draft went, though.
No, that's
We
fair.
had a lot of restricteds be drafted, but in the first round, I think almost everyone went for a restricted. Besides, no, everyone did go for restricted. Well, I don't know what the draft order actually, but there were a lot of restricteds in round 1. Pretty much, I think most of them were round 1. There were a few tier 1s in there, but then there were also, like, on the way back, I thought, like, people would, especially after all the other, like, decent restricteds were gone, I thought for sure people would be taking more tier 1s, I guess. But
That's fair. Well, we learned a lesson. We tried something new, and you can't fault it for trying.
yep, I think yeah, it was. I'm
You only miss the
I was
shots you don't take.
yeah. I think I had a great matchup coming in here. So, like, Amulet played well, and he played great all season. So even if he was a better coach, I just think my team was just, not only did I have a good matchup, I think my team was just way stronger on paper. Like, my team, no matter who coached it, it should have done well no matter what. So I'm glad that I was able to take it to a championship because it felt like a team that deserved to win, you know? Because, like, as you said, a lot of teams that are really good in sports or in draft leagues, they don't end up winning for whatever reason. And you just want like the really good team to find success. And so I was glad I was able to do that.
Fair enough. Well, congratulations, Blizzard.
Thank you.
That's going to be it for our watching, but I know Blizzard wanted to talk a little bit more about his matchup and how he prepped for the season. So let's do that. We're going to go
Yeah,
ahead.
I don't know how many people watching are interested in like the prep aspect, but I think obviously like, gameplay is extremely important. If you no matter how good your prep is, if you just like play poorly, you'll lose. But team building to me is very important, and I did spend like quite a bit of time on it. I don't just like run the same sets every week. So I just use like this kind of um standard like prep doc. Um, and the main things that I wanted to like point out was just like looking at the type chart. If you look at the type chart, you can kind of identify weaknesses with any team. So you'll notice his type chart is actually very well balanced. Like
Yeah.
there's only one type that he is like weak to overall. But that's counting Shiftry and Regdice, which are his two tier fives. So it's like really
Do
he just
those
has
really
positive
count?
matchups
Yeah.
every type pretty much, which is great for him. Like it makes it really hard to prep into those teams. But a lot of times you'll notice like ground or fairy or flying, like some of the better offensive typings will typically like have better matchups. You look at my team, those are the three that are the biggest problems for me.
Yep.
And that's why I drafted like Sceptile, and why I drafted Enamorous, because they're both negative resisted and are immune to ground. Like so like with drafting you can think about that a little too, but also just you don't want to have too many of the same weakness. And if you do, like that's flying around just because ground is a problem in my team, you know?
Right.
Also with the team stats, um, there's only so much you can get out of like just looking at the stats, but no identifying what your types of attackers your opponent has is huge. So if you look at the number on the bottom, if you scroll down to the team stats,
Do-do-do-do.
and you notice how like there's the number at the bottom, which is the average. Um, that is for me very important. Like I mean, there's going to be certain mons that skew it, and certain mons that are more important to consider than others. But if you go down the line, who has a higher special attack than physical attack on my team? Maridon, and then my two tier five, Sceptile and Amorous. So
Right.
really, I'm a very physical team, right? You go down the line, you see 120, 130, 112, 115, 130, 112, 20. That's a lot of physical. My physical attack average 108, which is extremely high. Um, so
Versus his
and also you can see
average
my
88
speed is also
defense.
yeah,
Yeah.
or 80. I have average 80 defense.
I was saying
80.
his defense too, because you had a 108 attack average. His average defense was
Oh,
only
sorry.
88. So like you have
Gotcha.
a
Yeah.
20-point lead there.
Hmm. And you'll notice my special attack is quite low, but and his special defense is quite high. So that actually, I mean, that average is brought up by Ho and definitely Red Ice, but still, he has some like more specialty looking mons, which doesn't actually work super well in his favor against me.
Right.
Um, so then something that I like to try and do is balance the amount of physical and special attackers I have. You can see pretty clearly that I did not do a great job of that this season, but there's actually a method to that as well. Miraidon is my best Pokemon. Maybe you could say Urshifu better or the same tier, but Miraidon is my best or one of my best Pokemon, guaranteed. It's a huge threat. You have to worry about it running specs a lot of the time, even though I don't run that much. Life Orb, like so, and Electric Training boosts its damage as well. So not only is it super scary, it also runs damage modifiers. So having that super powerful special attacker on my team makes my opponent not want to only invest in physical bulk, even though my entire team pretty much is physical. I again like this is a little bit extreme still. I should have probably had another good special attacker in there, but I think that it showed because my opponent really doesn't want to run AV. That's not worth like 99% of the time because you're only stopping Miraidon or you're only weakening Miraidon, and then everything else can as if you don't have an item.
Right.
Um, So that's something to consider. Another thing is my speed was incredibly fast, right? So this was a super fast-paced team with Volbeat, especially with Tailwind. Um, I meant that I could outspeed like any team.
Do you
Like there's kind
have
of,
4 Mons that outspeed his fastest, being Screamtail, Sceptile,
and
Sneasler, Boulder, and Miraidon?
I also only have 4 Mons under 106 speed, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 60% of my team is 106 speed or faster, and that 4 of them are 120 speed or faster. So that's just a super fast team. Um, and I had to kind of deal with that all season. Like I know that he could have easily brought Trick Room. He did bring Trick Room. So my logic of dealing with Trick Room is just I really punish someone for setting up Trick Room by just if you click Trick Room, you can't click Protect. And if you're in front of Urshifu, you can't click Protect anyways.
Right.
So I forced them to waste their Terra and defense, like play defensively. All to either clicking Follow Me, which kills that Pokemon or weakens it significantly, or like they would burn through a lot of resources just to get Trick Room up. So if I can just do a lot of damage, then even if Trick Room's up, if I have enough bulk to survive like a turn and get off an attack, then I can finish you just low on health, you know?
Fair enough.
Um, Another thing that's helpful if with the speeds, if you scroll down a little more, is you'll see the speed compares. This is big. You can look at the exact like fastest speed possible for these guys or with a boost. Um, and you'll notice these were the ones I was looking at for this matchup because Screamtail can run booster energy. So with my speed EV and Landorus run Choice Scarf, both of those were very common. So I wanted to outspeed both of like those guys with like my fastest in Tailwind, right? So with like pretty much with my entire team, pretty much, I want to outspeed both of those guys when I'm in Tailwind, and because like I'm not gonna if they're insanely fast with Scarf booster energy, so I'm not gonna outspeed them outside of Tailwind. So I wanted to outspeed them in Tailwind. He never ended up bringing Streamtail, but it was definitely a problem. Another thing I did I looked at if I set it to neutral, you can see that with with Ho-Oh and Dialga, they have 142 speed, right? Um Max they're running if they have 252 EVs and not a boosting nature, which is he never once all season ran 250. I don't think he ran max speed on either of those guys. But he ran close to it. And he never ended up running a speed boosting nature. So I made the assumption I'm he is not going to run max speed on these guys. Like most he does is 252. So I made my Urshifu, my Iron Treads, and my Sneasler, and maybe my my no, not my Volbeat. Maybe my Volbeat actually. I made all of those guys fast, like 143 speed or like around there, like a little maybe a little faster. So that way I would be able to outspeed them all at that speed tier. Assuming that he doesn't run a positive nature, which I really didn't think he was going to. Um, so I think that's another thing to like just putting a lot of like thought into like what is your opponent going to run and like in draft I don't need to run max speed Miraidon like 99%. Miraidon's so fast. I only need to run max speed Miraidon if I'm fighting like Chen Pao or Fluttermane or Koraidon or anything like that. Then I need to run max speed makes sense. Maybe even Scarf makes sense. But otherwise I can just outspeed the fastest thing that I need to outspeed and then put the rest in bulk, right? Because and then I can run max special attack on top of that. Like with Urshifu, because I put 143 speed on Urshifu, I was able to run Adamant. I wouldn't have been able to run Adamant if I assumed he was going to be max speed on his guys and tried to outspeed that. So I think
Nah, Wolfie,
just
you're still late. We're done with Phalanx here. We're just going over Blizzard's fucking prep.
yeah, I'm just talking about prep. So I think that's important. I don't by any means think I'm a better prepper than like everyone in the league. I don't think that's the reason I won necessarily. I think my team is just strong. But prep goes it is a big part of the game. And so I really think that it's the easiest way to improve your team or your performance or your gameplay is just by improving your prep. And mocks can help with that. If you do a mock battle with someone and you're trying a weird strategy and it doesn't end up working, it's like a little too weird, then you can shit. I found that I like to go for a lot of weird strategies, and some of them don't. Well, some of them work out, but most don't. And when I just run like straight up good sets, then that works a lot better. But with EVs especially, you want to play around with them. And just use your team to the fullest. I think this was a great team, and to kind of maximize his potential is really the reason I think.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, sorry for all of that yap for you guys,
No,
but
it's important.
I I think it's just something to consider. If prep isn't something you're spending a lot of time on, or it's not something you're thinking about a lot, you're just kind of thinking about the gameplay and how to improve there, then I think this is another way to like kind of level up your game. And I'm gonna shout out this guy because he had the best prep of anyone I saw. Like the most creative prep was a Turnham, man. A Turnham had the craziest sets. He ran no shield Zamazenta against me twice, I believe, in quarterfinals. I can't remember, but he did it against me. He ran it several times, which is crazy. He ran Electric Seed Zamazenta against me as well. He ran like all sorts of like cool prep, and it made the fights a lot closer. Just like running things to catch your opponent off guard is huge in draft. So
Oh yeah.
with the upcoming season, like in the future, I would say draft your team and think about Mons in terms of their potential. Anamorous, I only brought him to one game and he didn't do anything. But I think Enamorous has so much potential because there's a great move set. It could easily be a physical or special attacker. Like there's a lot of potential there, and so drafting mons based off of potential is the best way to do it. And that's how I like when I'm creating tier lists, or point draft boards or whatever. I go based off of what I think the potential of a mon is. Um, so even if a mon seems like it's placed maybe a little high, it's just because in the right circumstances it can be
It can't be. It has to be.
so
Yeah.
good.
No, I agree. Looking at a Pokemon at their maximum value as opposed to like even like it's you have to look at a Pokemon like sure, on the average scale, it's gonna do this X amount of times. But if I have this thing and this thing together, which it's likely that I can get both, it's you have to be able to take that into consideration to be like, what can this thing do at its maximum potential versus what is this thing going to do at its average? Like for example, you have Pokemon like, and I'm speaking more from like a single standpoint here. You have Pokemon like we'll say your average Swift Swimmer. Well, your average Swift Swimmer is going to be a good Pokemon, but when you put it in rain, it's unprecedented. It's fast as fuck, and
Yeah.
it changes things entirely.
My example was going to be Barraskewda actually, because Barraskewda is a mon that is terrible, right? Normally, it can't really do much normally, but its attack stat is really high and its speed stat's really high. So give it like even Mystic Water, but mainly like Life Orb, Choice Band. Put it in rain. Put it in front like with Terra Water. Like that thing does a lot of damage. So that you have to think about it in max. Like even if it doesn't run swim, it has propeller tail, meaning it can't be redirected. So like
True.
Amoonguss, which normally could like shut it down by resisting it and redirecting it, suddenly can't. So like there's you have to like look at mons like that. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Also, there is one last thing that I do want to see. Can you check your DMs real quick, Spam,
Yes, I can.
and open that? So this is something that Truckle helped me with. It was an idea I had
Not a
in
waste of
econ
my
class.
time.
It was called A Waste of My Time that we renamed it afterwards. But the we looked at his sets for every week, right? All the moves he ran, how often he clicked each move throughout the set, his EV spreads, his average EV spread, his natures, and his terror types. Those are like the main things we looked at, and also items as well, right? So notice Ho never once ran max speed. Adamant and careful were the two natures he ran. I figured there's no way he's running. He ran 220 speed, but even if he runs 252, there's no way that he runs. There's no way at all that he runs to like max speed. So this was help me be convinced of that. Sacred Fire, he clicked a lot, right? He
Right.
ran Protect a lot, Tailwind a few times, Dual Wing Beat a lot. Dual Wing Beat also can, break Sash theoretically, on something like Sneasler if I want to run Sash Sneasler for um so that this doc was extremely helpful. Huge shout out to for helping me with this. You can look at every Mon, like Smeargle especially, was interesting to just see because Smeargle could run anything, right? Like, um, Smeargle is known for like having like every move in the game, right? So what does he choose to run with it? Sport every single week besides one. Follow me every single week. Spiky Shield every week besides the first two. And then he ran like Transform once, Nation a few times, Hair Song a few times, Decorate a few times. So it was like I know kind of what he's going to generally go for with Smeargle, and notably, he ran Sash every single week, which
Yeah.
let me know that he wasn't running Choice Scarf. Probably, he was very unlikely that he runs Choice Scarf. And this prep is like a little flawed just because you can't make those crazy assumptions a lot of the time. You can't just assume your opponent's not going to bring something just because they've never brought it in 8 weeks, right? Or in 10 weeks if you're looking at quarters and semis. You can't assume that, but at the same time, if your opponent is following a trend and you can notice that trend, then you can capitalize on it. And that's what I tried to talk about with like Urshifu earlier, of just making him exactly faster, 1 point faster than 252 EV, Ho and Dialga. I think maximizing his attack was so worth it there that if I hadn't run max attack, I wouldn't have killed Dialga game one in that time when he was at 45%. I needed like I think it was a guaranteed kill on him, honestly, but maybe it wasn't if I rolled low. Um, but if I hadn't run max attack, I don't think I'd kill from that percent.
Fair.
Someone could check me on that, but
Hmm.
I think maximizing your team's potential is huge, and so just like looking at what your opponent's actually bringing again. Do not do this. I would not recommend anyone do this in the future of just like bringing like or using like trends of like making a sheet for every single thing they do, but I would notice trends. I think that is important. Like Dialga is another Pokemon that like really could do a lot of things. He ran a variety of things, but mostly he ran max HP every week. He ran a lot of special attack and then like a little speed or bulk depending on kind of what he wanted. And he ran Trick Room a few times. He ran Earth Power every week, so I knew that was coming for sure. Flash Can a lot, so like just kind of knowing what to
Well,
expect
so
or identifying trends is good.
to talk about what you said about how you don't think this is something that people like, you wouldn't say that this is something people have to do. Um, Wah brought up a good point, and I was also going to bring this up too. So it's nice to have some backup on this. I genuinely, actually, I think this is something I do. This is why I think not only is posting your replays important for us to monitor and see so we can fill out the data, but it's important for your opponents as well, because trends are trends for a reason. People play how they're comfortable. Like Rick brought up for season one, for this season, he brought up how differently he ran his Gliscor in Hoplite and Singles Division, how differently he ran his Gliscor than how differently Tim ran his Gliscor this season, and it's the same Mon, but that same Mon has a good chunk of variance in how it can be ran, but both of them stuck to a very specific play style with that Pokemon. So noticing trends, you can kind of pick up, okay, this is what they're going to do, this is what they're going to do. And like, for an example, in Hoplite, that's how I was able to beat Tim when I did beat him, is I watched every single replay. I picked up on every single trend I could find, picked up on play patterns, and I used that against him.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
did not
I
work
think
for
that
me later, but it did not work for me against Eternum. But Eternum was hard to prep for because Garganackle
he
came in late to the season.
he also is again very unique with prep. But
He is. I love Eternum's prep, man.
yeah, huge shout out to him. But I think that I really would not recommend making a sheet like this. But noticing trends is important because a lot of people play predictably, and I noticed that a lot when I fought Cromp, right? Um, I fought him in semis, and I also fought him week. Wait, no, I don't think I ended up fighting. Sorry, who was I? Well, I was talking about Eternum, right? I fought Eternum week 2, and then I fought him again in quarters. So I made my was working on my profiles team, and I made a lot of like, oh, I think this is a good speed EV for this reason. I think this is a good whatever. By the time it was 4 mons in, I paused and looked at my Poke page from week 2, and they were nearly identical because I had the same thought process both times of like, oh, this speed is good because it outspeeds this thing, but underspeeds like it's just enough to outspeed this thing, but I don't need to anymore. Like whatever, all that stuff. Almost exactly the same, and that was just because I wasn't even thinking. And that's just like that's just how I built the team. I thought the same way both times, and so if I hadn't paused and looked at my previous team, they would have been very similar, and Eternum could have gotten a lot of information just by looking at my Pokebase. But by being conscious of the way, like the trends that I was following, and constantly choosing to deviate from them, I made a much harder team to predict. And I mean, he still played great, but it was less predictable because I wasn't running the same exact things.
And I also think that's one of the nice things about draft is it's a good opportunity for you to learn your own play pattern and learn
Mhm.
how you need to deviate from your play pattern if it's acceptable to the matchup. But
Yeah. This also is a sign that Charcoal is an idiot and he's willing to do this for me, but he's also like the best person in the world. So thank you so much to him for doing it. Like I did probably 10 to 20% of this, and he did the other 80, 90%. So huge shout out to Charcoal for helping me with this. And he helped me do mocks for a few matches. So I really didn't run mocks, but mocks are another thing that if you can run mocks and just have a good partner, a partner that catches you off guard, then that's really helpful
oh yeah.
because they really test you and like you have no idea what they're gonna bring. Like, but if your opponent brings like what I think is like what is the best possible team they could bring, and then also a few other surprises, right? So with my matchup versus for AMLO dude, he didn't bring Screamtail or Gothitail. I didn't expect him to bring Gothitail, but I thought like Screamtail or Klefki, I thought one of those guys was coming. I was like, there's no way Shiftry comes, but I don't think Shiftry is good here. So he can either bring Shiftry and not use him, bring Shiftry and use him, which I think is bad for him, or just not bring him at all. So only one of those scenarios does Shiftry actually come.
Yeah,
And in
Shiftry
that
only
scenario,
saw 3 games this season, and one of them was in postseason.
yeah. So I thought that there's no way Shiftry shows up, but even if he does, it's actually bad for him. So I'm fine with him. I'm not actually going to prep too hard into Shiftry. I'm going to be acknowledge him and have ways to beat him like Urshifu. Even though Urshifu's weak to him, Urshifu's also super effective into him. I was like, okay, and I have Sneasler who can hit him. I have Urshifu who can hit him. I have Grimsh. I acknowledge his existence, but I'm really not going to prep at all
Prep
into
too
him
much
because
into it, right?
I'm running poison move on Caesar anyway. I'm running fighting move on Urshifu anyway. I'm running fairy move on Grimstrong
So
anyways.
you have
So
answers regardless.
yeah, so I have a few answers. Like, don't ignore it. Like Regice, like I didn't ignore it, but I was like, there's no way this thing is coming. So I'm not going to over prep into it.
That makes sense to me.
So yeah,
Well,
sorry
thank you,
for
sir.
keeping this
No,
stream
you're good.
going so long.
We appreciate the insight. I know I do for sure.
Yeah, I think that when I watch a lot of these replays, there's actually really good gameplay and a lot of like there's like amazing predictions and like it's just like people here are good at the game. It just feels like they're someone like Void's team. Void had an amazing team. I in my initial tier list, I put his team or a Cromp too. Sorry, Crump I put first in terms of his team. I put me second, and I put Void's third. Just like how good our teams are, in my opinion. I think maybe in retrospect, my team is like first, but it's hard to say. Crump's team was super, super scary. And I think he ran generally more predictable things, and so it made it easier to counter him for semis. I feel like I won quite handily. I won 2-0. If he had a little more like mixed it up, like Fluttermane is someone who could run a lot. Koraidon can run a lot of sets. There's like his best Pokemon had a lot of options, and like even though they were mainly doing thing, mainly just like fast hard hitters, they could deviate quite a bit. And he had Illumise, and I had Volbeat, but he rarely used Illumise, and I used Volbeat a lot. So
True.
I think trying to it's like the
You're
fifth
not
time
allowed
I'm
to pick
saying this,
Volbeat
but
ever again.
I think he's going to be like one of the higher tiers, like for sure. He's just gonna be like too expensive enough where if you pick him, it's like you're giving up a lot.
He's gonna join Paldean, Wooper, and Wooper in the too strong have to ban
Wait,
category.
what do you mean? Those guys? You mean a Turn Max Eternatus and Ultra Necrosis? That's what I renamed them. Anyways,
That's funny. Well, sir,
yeah.
thanks for coming out. Thanks for hosting the Phalanx division, and I'm super excited for season 3.
Yeah. I am too. I think it's been a great. I mean, every player we've had has been great. Even though we had some drops, and even though we've mixed it up quite a bit actually from player base of season 1. I think there were a lot of great new additions, a lot of tough additions. Like Amla was amazing, and I hope I never have to fight him season 3. But I think
it's my turn to rig the matchups so that you conveniently fight Amlo every week. I don't know how it happened. I'm sorry.
Week, yeah, I'm gonna go 0-8. But yeah, I think it was a really fun season. I'm obviously biased because I've won now seasons 1 and 2, but I really enjoyed both of them, and I think this is a great community. Looking forward to season 3 a lot, and yeah, I'm looking forward to not winning next season.
Well, here's to hoping.
Yep.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. If you are staying tuned for the Hoplite stream, give me about 10-ish minutes, I would say, so that I can get everything set up and prepped. But stick around, and we will be live here shortly. Thank you again, Blizzard, for coming out.
Yep. Peace.
Later, guys.